my team's responsibility to make sure that the technology aligns with future digital transformation and making sure that we're aligned with all the different projects that we're doing. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing. I'm not going to actually mention a lot of products, right? So if you think that I'm going to show you a new ThinkPad, that's not going to happen, okay? A little bit, I guess, about where we're heading in the industry for 2020. This is something that's really, really important for us as a PC manufacturer and also for beyond that. Is number one, the one thing that everything is going on is we're moving away from the traditional way of managing PCs. We're moving to the same way of managing PCs, the way that corporations also manage their phones, right? We're moving away from a company putting their own image onto it and then basically creating their own infrastructure to the same way that you would manage an iPhone or an Android phone or also just a Windows device. And that's something that's called Windows or modern management in that area. We're moving away from all the proprietary way of delivering drivers. So we're moving to all of that being enabled either by Linux or also by Windows directly. The same way that you do an update to your phone. Why do it any way different than on your phone? We're moving to an area where all of your apps now come from the Windows Store. Does that sound familiar? It's just like Apple, just like Android. So you can see here that in this particular area, we're really aligning, and Microsoft is aligning a lot of the technologies to make it just as easy to use a PC as you use a phone or as you use a tablet today. There are a couple of areas that are new that we're really, really focusing on dramatically. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, but we're moving into the area of IoT. And we're moving into IoT, for example, with this product. I know you think he's showing me a desktop. What does this have to do with IoT? We're getting a lot of adoption of this tiny device that you see here, which is a full-blown desktop. And people are now installing these into agricultural environments. They're installing them into manufacturing environments. They're installing them into medical and hospitals and also retail stores in order to provide an AI environment to drive those new types of environments. This is a new area that has just recently established itself. And so Lenovo really is trying to lead in this space, and we're creating a whole bunch of new technology. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about this as well. We have the whole area of AR, VR. You can see one of the examples out here. In China, for example, we have a room that is about double the size of this that you see here. It's covered in sand. And then basically we heat the room up to about 36, 38 degrees Celsius, and we make it smell like seawater. And then basically you put on a set of VR glasses, and now you can go on holiday at the beach without actually ever leaving Budapest. Now, how does that sound, right? That's a good idea. Now, not just that, you can go running along the beach. Not me, right? But maybe you, if you're a little bit fitter, you can go running along the beach for as long as you like, because the VR headset allows us to trick you into running in a circle even though you think you're running straight. So these are just some of the different types of applications. By the way, we have tons of travel agencies that are looking to provide VR holidays. Now imagine, you only pay 50 euros to go on a two-day beach holiday, right? And by the way, you can drink a cocktail and you can do everything else that you'd like in the same kind of area. But also on a serious note, for example, we're teaching welders how to weld underwater. Right? And we're saving the companies money because by doing it in a VR environment and simulating being underwater, it's less dangerous. And by the way, it costs a whole bunch less money to actually train all of those things. So the AR, VR technologies that we're investing in and that we're looking into are really, really advanced. Pen and ink, it's a much, you guys are journalists. How are you taking notes? Okay, somebody, there we go. There we go. See, he's already doing it right back there, right? So pen and ink, the usage of pen and ink, it's much more natural, but it lacks a little bit of intelligence. And so we're adding a whole bunch of intelligence into this space. Voice assistants, you'll see that out there. Talk to your machine. It's no longer a matter of you have to type something in, but you now talk to your machine and you talk to your interface. And we have the Google Assistant out there, but we also have things like Alexa on our devices. And lastly, everything around cloud subscriptions and cloud technologies. This is the way that we think a majority of our products are going to be going in 2020 in that particular cycle. But when we take a look at just the area of AI, really Lenovo is pioneering in the AI space, and it's something that we don't make enough noise about, which is why I'm very, very happy I get a chance to talk to you about this today. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff in the area of robotics in our research and development team. We're looking at all sorts of different types of AR projects in AR, VR. Not a lot of people know that Lenovo has its own autonomous car, right? And by the way, unlike a lot of other autonomous car projects, this one also needs to take into account like 12 million bicycle riders in China. Okay, that's a lot more difficult than what you typically have within that environment. We're using AI, and if you use a Lenovo device, thank you very, very much. See, if he's already using AI on that device right now because we already have it embedded into the technology, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how we do that to optimize, for example, the battery life on the device. We have, if you speak to a device in Chinese, anyone here speak Chinese? No? Sorry, okay. Well, if you did, the voice recognition software that's used in about 99% of the time is actually powered by Lenovo. We were the only ones that figured out how to get a device to understand Chinese, because it's that difficult, right? If you think Hungarian is hard, right? Chinese is even harder, right? And then lastly, if you look in the area of CV, and this is something that we're really working on, you notice, I don't know if you saw in the press, we just opened up our own autonomous store in China. And so basically what we have there is a bunch of cameras that simply monitor you as you walk in. There's no people in the store, well, except to put new products in the store, but there's no cashiers. You walk in the store, you take something off of the shelf, and you put it in your pocket and you walk out and you don't get arrested, because your system automatically pays, and that's another technology that we're doing, and we're using computer vision in this area to do the whole recognition of all of these different types of areas. The only problem that we're seeing is that companies still are stuck in the old world, and so they can't adopt all of these new types of technologies. They're still stuck in the areas where the change processes are stopping them from moving to the new technology, and that's where Lenovo comes in with our intelligent transformation, with the Intelligent Futures, to actually help our customers move to this new and innovative technology as much as we possibly can. So one of the examples that we did, very, very simple one, we actually, again, we embedded the tinies that I showed you here into beehives. Very, very simple. And by the way, the tinies now monitor 3 things in the beehive. Number 1, temperature. Number 2, where the queen is. And number 3, the tiny counts how many bees go in and how many bees come out every day. Okay, that's all the tinies do, but by the way, that's a pretty difficult thing to do. And what we've managed to do is we've managed to determine, for example, why certain bees die. And so we found out that if the beehives are set up in areas where there's either a lot of birds or there's a lot of pesticides, that a lot of them don't come back. So that allowed the beekeepers to actually find the optimal spots to put their beehives to maximize the production of honey. They also identified how the honey was produced, and they could also now optimize which flowers to put the beehives close to. And so by implementing AI technology on the basis of our tinies, for example, they were able to double the amount of honey that the bees produced, and not just that, but also make the quality of the honey much, much better. And this is a very, very simple exercise that we went into within that area. Not a lot of people know about this. Lenovo's won 2 different awards in the AI application for cancer research. Now, something that you might not know, it might be a little bit different here, but typically an oncologist, a doctor who finds cancer, only has 15 minutes. 15 minutes to find out whether you have cancer or not by looking at the charts. That's 15 minutes on your individual lives. If he misreads those charts, you're dead. That's very, very simple. So what we did is we implemented AI technology. As I said, we won 2 awards on this one that now goes and scans through the CT scans and identifies tumors, by the way, to 98% accuracy. A doctor can only reach about 92%. And by the way, we do it in 5 minutes. And when I talk about this, I mean good doctors. I don't mean bad doctors. Okay, this is an application of where we used our server technology and AI with workstations that are embedded inside of these CT scanners in order to help people and identify the tumors much, much faster than they are. We've got a couple of implementations of these in China. We've got a couple of implementations of these now here in Europe as well, and we're starting to actually implement these in many, many other hospitals just to power all of these things with AI. One last project that not a lot of you probably know about is we also optimized windmills. Now you think this is a windmill and it doesn't cost any money to run these. Well, you're wrong. The oil change on one of these is really, really expensive. And so the last thing you want to do is you don't want to run these windmills when there's not power actually being optimally sold. So what we did, again, using our tiny technology and using our workstations, is we analyzed the wind pattern that's coming in. And by the way, what's important for these windmills is that you distribute the power efficiently. Now, if you have power already, if you have a nuclear power plant or a coal power plant or anything else like that, it takes 3 days of advanced knowledge for you to power down or power up one of those power plants to make sure that the power is distributed. But the wind doesn't usually give you 3 days advance notice. So we use AI technology in order to detect wind changes, predict wind changes, so that the power companies can again optimally distribute power among the different power units. So when the wind is strong, we power down the coal plants and the nuclear plants, and when the wind isn't strong, we power them back up and we get the 3 or 4 days advance notice that we need with a very, very high degree of accuracy. So these are just 3 small examples of all of the different areas that we're working on with all sorts of different companies around the digital transformation. So what we've gone up to is we've moved away from just being the company that provides devices for this guy. Right, this is where we were strong. We were really strong in providing the PCs for the person in the suit. But we're now actually going into all sorts of other areas. Milk production optimization, camera vision, medical, robotics, logistics and distribution. So you can see here that we're going into more and more different types of things with all sorts of different devices, and then basically once we get to that point, we then go into the processing. And by the way, again, this is where we're using the tiny device that you see here at the edge for a lot of different applications. Okay, this is something that's really, really powerful and really, really strong. Then after that, obviously, we go in with our storage that we have in terms of the Think Smart and Think Agile. And then lastly, when we go into the visualization and analyzation, our servers, and then more importantly also our AR, VR technology helps our companies, or helps companies that work with us to actually process all of this technology. Lastly, and you heard about this announcement we made in September, all of this is then powered by security. So this is surrounded by the announcement that we made around Think Shield. If you do not have security at every level of this solution becomes worthless because the hackers will now use this against you, right? So we have a whole bunch of different types of things. Now, I'd like to give you 3 examples of where we're using this today. This is an application of AI that we use right now and today on every consumer Lenovo device. Let's be very clear. We use AI in order to detect unknown device crashes. And so this is it's actually a 2D version of the 3D graph. It's a 3D graph. And so you can see here that by applying AI to the crashes that we detect on the web, we can find out all of those weird things that are causing the crashes. So we can now go out and we can say, you know what? Your PC is going to crash in 2 days. Could you please fix it? And we can say, you know what, that GeForce graphics driver that you're using, that doesn't work very well with Quake or with whatever. I'm sorry, right? So we can find certain clusters, and we can now predict the way that it's going to behave and predict crashes. This is AI applied to our devices today. Another use of AI is something that we're applying to our privacy filter. So we have the ePrivacy Guard now. It's a filter that is integrated into our devices that will automatically, make the screen hard to read from the side. I have a device here that I can show you in just a second, but this is not AI, by the way. That's not AI. But what we did is that we added something that we call privacy alert. We use the camera that's inside of the device to look at the user and also to look behind the user. This is like if you have a German car. If you have a car, I'll leave the German out. It's the blind spot information system, right? It's that little light that goes on on your mirror to tell you there's somebody in your blind spot. Well, we use the camera to look behind the user, and if somebody is shoulder surfing, right? If somebody is looking over another user's shoulder and looking to see what they've just written or what they're writing, the system will notify the user that somebody is looking over their shoulder, right? And we use AI technology in order to detect faces and in order to run all those different types of things on this PC. Lastly, within this space, and this is something that is actually really, really scary. And this is not a Lenovo product. I just want to make sure that you understand that. This is a product, the top one, is a product I bought off of eBay for $35. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is a wireless hacking access point. That's all it does. Okay, and it's connected up to this battery. And now all I do with this is I put it into a backpack, and I call this Starbucks. And I sit at Starbucks.
Free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi, that's it, exactly, free Wi-Fi. And then basically what happens, all of you connect up to my wireless access point because I'm providing free Wi-Fi. And so this, by the way, is becoming more and more difficult. 50% of public wireless access points are either intentionally or unintentionally misconfigured to have security vulnerabilities. 50%, okay? When was the last time you connected up to a public wireless access point? Okay, actually today. You're probably connected up to one right now. I can assure you that the Lenovo one is secure. It passed my test, so we're okay on that one. But what we have here is one way of hacking, and this is another way that we've got an application that is integrated into our products that is called Lenovo Wi-Fi Security that uses AI in order to detect the behavior of malicious wireless access points. It actually finds out this is bad behavior. The wireless access point is trying to hack my machine, and therefore it will then notify the user, listen, that wireless access point that you're connecting up to is malicious, don't connect up to it. And these are 3 ways that we are using AI today on the devices in order to drive digital transformation and intelligent transformation at our customers. Okay? Now that was just a short overview of what we're doing. I could name hundreds more, but I only had a certain amount of time. So with that, I would like to hand over to Ivan, who has just, oh, there we go. You can't disappear on me when I'm trying to hand over.